Hello people, welcome to my channel. My name is Hilary and today I will be doing a very late mid-year book Freakout tag. So as I said before, I am a little bit behind on my filming schedule. May and June was hectic, but I'm here to do a little overview about how I have been doing in the first half of 2022. And we can start this with the best book I have read this year, and I went through my co-pile, and it is definitely the third book of Lycania's trilogy by James Islington, The Light of All That Falls. And as you can see, I annotated it, I enjoyed it immensely. I started the first book in I think November last year, and I read the second and third book this year, and I absolutely love this. Before I go over what this book is about or this series about, I'm going to the second question, and that is, what is the best sequel you have read this year? And it has to be the second book in this trilogy, An Echo of Things to Come. I would have added the first book also into this, somewhere in this list, however I read it last year. So the Lycania's trilogy is basically, what they're saying is a Wheel of Time, but a lot condensed and with faster pace. It is high epic fantasy in a world of its own, where we have several main characters. Some are more main characters than others. Basically, we are concentrating on two boys. One is somebody who doesn't have any memory of his past, and we will be going with him to events that are taking place in that world. War is coming, and basically we are figuring out who he is, who he was, what were his motives, and what is happening. And then we have another boy, it was Davian, right? Where he discovers that he has some magical powers. They're a little bit different than most people who have magical powers. However, they are somewhat enslaved to non-magical people, so they can't use magic in any way they want. And we are just trying to survive, make certain that other people don't die. And the main big bad is Shamail, if I remember correctly, and we don't exactly know who or what he is. However, we know that he was locked away in part of the country behind this boundary wall, and sadly the boundary wall is breaking, so we are trying to stop that happening. And what I love about this book is it is a lot about friendship, but also morally gray characters. So it is questioning what our motives are. Does the end results validate what you're doing right now, especially if it's not good, and also what is good, what is bad. We have a lot. The second book, the first book basically builds up the situation and world, and we get some sort of snippets. The second book is all about Davian. So this Caden, the one who doesn't remember anything, and he comes up to some people from his past, and it's a lot about the motives behind his friends and his. And the third book ties it all together. And what I really love about this series is that we had, I think, 2 scenes from the first book that are really relevant throughout the series. So I sometimes went back when I was reading the second book or the third book to see exactly what were the details, because we're getting more information. And then in the third book we are getting one scene from another perspective, and it opens up. It explains so much. So I absolutely love this series, and I'm so excited that Broken Binding is doing their special edition version of this. So the next prompt, I think, was something alongside unread new release. And for that, I picked The Clockwork Girl by Anna Mazzola. So this, I think, was published in March this year. And I have gotten it, I think, in March or April or somewhere there. And I'm really excited about reading this. However, I haven't just picked it up because I have had a little bit of reading slump. So this is historical fiction, which is another iffy part that I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it or not. and it is based on real life events that happened in Paris in 1750s, where a lot of children disappeared. However, I think it's said that we still don't know exactly what happened, but this is a magical interpretation of that events. So I'm really, really excited. This is from Watchstones, and I really, really loved these sprayed edges. So the next one is anticipated releases, and I think most people will answer that the same, and that is Babel or Babel by R.F. Kuang. So I'm right now in the middle of trying to finish the Bobby War, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And I'm excited to see what else she is putting out. Also, I have a couple of broken binding books that I'll just add pictures here. I honestly can't remember what they're about. I think they were something about high epic fantasies. The books look absolutely beautiful, and I'm quite excited to read them. The next prompt is the biggest disappointment, and I have two books for that. So first we'll start with something I own physically, and that is Book of Night by Holly Black. So I'm not the biggest fangirl of Holly Black. I read The Cruel Prince. No, it's the Folk of Air and something, I think, the Cruel Prince books, and I enjoyed them. I didn't enjoy the last book at all. I didn't like it where it went, what it did, but it was a decent YA. However, this book's biggest mistake, in my opinion, is lack of vibes and mood and the atmosphere. I just didn't feel it at all. We have such an interesting world with shadow magic. However, we didn't get a lot into it. I didn't feel it. So I think a lot of people also are a little bit disappointed in this one. Another book that I was a lot disappointed by was Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. So Laura Thalassa writes different kind of fantasy, romance or smut books, and I have read from her most of her previous books, definitely the Rhapsodic, the Bargainer series, and I really enjoyed it. I also read Unearthly. It is in the same world as the Bargainer series, if I remember correctly, the names and titles. I'll add some picture here. And that plot got a little bit out of hands, and it wasn't as good. And then I also read her dystopian novel. That is one of the few novels that I actually DNF'd. It's a series, not a novel. So the Pestilence, or the Four Horsemen series, is about four horsemen. The world is ending, and the horsemen comes and they find their mate. However, my most main problem was that he tortured and properly tortured her a lot, and by the end of it she was like, he's hot, I can still bang him, I'm gonna love him, and I just couldn't get past that. However, I'm still continuing the series to see the other characters and how the story will continue. So the biggest surprise, I think, I really had a really good January, February reading months, and I found so many so good books. And I think the biggest surprise for me was She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Shannon, and this is the Illuminated version. And honestly, I think I remember reading it like, I don't know, a page, 5 pages in, and I said this is going to be a 5-star read, and I enjoyed this immensely. This far, my connection with Illuminated and Fairyloot is that most of their YA are okay. I like that they give me a variety and very interesting premises. However, in my opinion, a lot of books lack a proper plot line. However, there are really good gems in there. For example, I really enjoyed Year of the Reaper, purely for the brothers' interactions, the characters. I know a lot of people that did enjoy it, and honestly, this is the best book I read from Fairyloot and Illuminated. And this is Asian-inspired story about the time of famine, and war, and we are following a couple of characters and just trying to see them taking their own future into their own hands. And it's quite interesting and very good read, and I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see the second book. So for the next prompt, we have favorite new author, and here I can't just not mention James Arlington. All my reasons are mentioned previously, but on another side I found Kylie Scott, and I think it was Deep Dive series. This is a 4-book series about it's a romance, contemporary romance book about the band members and them finding their love of their lives, and I really enjoyed it. It was nice, fun, interesting reads. So for the next 2 prompts, newest fictional crush and new favorite character, it's quite hard for me to pick because I don't usually fall in love with characters. I like good character stories, however, I don't keep thinking about them a lot. But I think for the newest fictional crush, we can put Jimmy from book Lead, that is by Kylie Scott, and that should be 3rd or 4th book in the series. He was the lead singer who had some drug problems, and he has been sober for a little while now, and his new PA or personal assistant, they develop a really good friendship and love, so I really liked his story. For the new favorite characters, maybe I don't know who to mention, so maybe Caden from here. He was a really interesting character. Caden is the one with no memory, and it was interesting to see him throughout the different times, and he developing and changing throughout these years and trying to be a good person and sometimes not so good. So maybe those 2 should fit these categories. So for the next prompt, a book that made me cry. And again, it's a little bit hard. I do cry sometimes in the book, especially if I'm really into it, or get a tiny bit like teary-eyed. I don't usually bawl. I probably did cry at this or something. I just literally can't remember. But what I do remember was the book by Frederick Backman, The Deal of a Lifetime. So that is a book about a person who is dying and talks about some part of his life, and if I remember correctly, dealing with a sick girl. And I was listening that after the funeral of my grandmother, so I did get choked up a lot. But as I said, usually I don't remember the books that made me cry, honestly. So yeah, but I think that can fit there, and it was really good. I am enjoying Frederick Backman's books. I have read, I think, 2 or 3 this year, and I think they're decent. They're very nicely written and enjoyable. So on the other spectrum, a book that made me happy, and honestly, it's another of book boxes, Illuminate's book, and it is Gallant by B. Schwab. I honestly loved the absolute vibes of this book, the dark, creepy. It was absolutely phenomenal. So this is about an orphan girl who discovers that she has some family somewhere, and they are asking her to live with them. However, she discovers that not everything is as it seems, that there is looking like a parallel place, and things are happening, and she is trying to figure out. And what I really loved about this book is that at the same time she is discovering more knowledge into her mother. So we have 2 timelines. So what happened to her mother, and it all culminates into this. So I got cut off, but what I was saying is that it all culminates into these journal entries in the middle of the book, where we see the proper story of her mother. And honestly, I loved all of this book, so I definitely recommend you to pick it up. Honestly, I really loved The New Witch by B. Schwab also, and I like these old time feeling stories that she sometimes writes, and they're perfect for me. So next prompt is beautiful books that I have bought this year, and I would really love to include the broken binding ones that I showed the pictures previously. However, they are not yet in my hands, so I don't count them, but I have 2 books or series that I will be mentioning, and I haven't read either of them, but I'm really excited to pick them up. The first one is the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and this is the Illumigrate special edition. So we have these beautiful sprayed edges. I love this holographic foil. The end papers, I think they're the same, yes, and also holographic foil on the book itself. And I'm quite excited to pick this up. However, I know a lot of booktubers haven't enjoyed this, so because the characters themselves, they're quite nasty as far as I've heard, so we'll see, but it doesn't take away the beauty of this book. And the second book, or it's more of a series, is from the Broken Binding, the First Law trilogy. So these are the regular covers with added foil. So we have this gold foil. I don't know how you can see them. We have some blue foil on the second book and some copper rose gold one on the third one. And what I really loved about this series is this sprayed edges picture. And I know that the rest of series that we will be getting this year from the Broken Binding, we don't get any sprayed edges because they couldn't get them, so that's kind of sad. But I also love the underneath the hard dust jacket, these designs also. So all of them have similar except for the foil color, and the dust jackets themselves are really nice, thick parchment feeling. So honestly, really beautiful books. The next prompt is a book I really need to read before the end of the year, and it's not a new release. It's it's kind of something that has been on my TBR for some time, and that is Dune by Frank Herbert. So I have this beautiful special edition, and I just heard that there will be similar designs for the book 2 and 3, the Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, I think, if I remember the titles correctly, and they should be coming out April next year. So I think I'm gonna read the first book in this one, and then I will be reading the second and third book on my Kindle, and then when the new designs are coming out, I will be definitely buying those. So this has been intimidating me for quite some time. However, I have seen the movie that should be taking part in halfway of this book or the full book, I don't know yet. And I also have read a graphic novel by the Sun, and the second novel should be coming out in this July. So I know some backstory. Also, my husband has read the whole series and also based his D&D game on Dune, so I do know the general knowledge on how the world is working and what is the plot line. So I think I shouldn't be as intimidated, and it should be going maybe a little bit faster because of that. So hopefully I can do that, and honestly, I am basically, this will be my next book I will be picking up. So excited. And now, if I have gotten everything correctly, the last tag question should be the favorite community member of the booktube, and I am going to nominate here Cassidy from Covers by Cassidy. I discovered her this year, and she reads a lot of self-published books, mainly high epic fantasies, and I love to get more information from her about different kind of fantasy series. I have gotten so many from her already added to my TBR, although I try not to add all of them because it will get out of hands. And I also joined her Patreon, so this is the first Patreon I joined, and I am really enjoying it. I'm participating in their reading challenge for the summer, It's dragon themed, and sadly I haven't managed to join a lot of sprints because she is in Canada and time zones are a bitch, because she usually does the sprints when I am sleeping. But I have gotten to some of the end of the sprints and also have back watched them, and I really enjoy her videos, so I will link her somewhere. Definitely go check her out. So this is about it. So I didn't add all the books here, but these are some of the books that I was really quite excited to read. I really enjoyed it, or I was a little bit disappointed on, but hopefully you found something interesting from my list. And seeing how I'm doing, I think I'm doing quite okay with reading this year, the first half, and hopefully the second half will be as good. But this is about it, so thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and bye!